Welcome back to the Contributor Corner. I'm Trina with Chef Alex, and we're talking about Italian kitchen, your food trailers and trucks, and I'm never going to say it right.
Bedamatri.
Bedamatri.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness is right. One of the things that stands out to me, we were talking about some of the things people don't realize what it takes to get the food truck up and going. You can't just back it up to a party and say, here we go.
No.
So what are some of those things that people would be surprised to learn about what it takes to own a food truck?
Okay, I can start generalizing because it's common to every single food truck.
Okay.
Either if you have a barbecue food truck, a taco food truck, every single food truck that you see out there is a lot of prep going on. I mean, I cannot wake up one morning, jump in the food truck, go somewhere and opt for the best.
Right.
Either if I am a barbecue, I need to cook that meat. I cannot show up to something and the meat is done.
Yeah.
The meat cooks. I mean, everybody who did meat in their life, they know that meat cooks for 10, 15, 16 hours according to what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's not just like I put it there and hope for the best. I mean, there is a attention that you need to put to that. So if you need to be tomorrow somewhere, you probably started yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's 36, 48 hours prep. It's not something that comes out of nowhere. If you do taco, you need to have that meat done. You need to have all the sides done. We share the kitchen, an Italian kitchen, with a company that has a food truck and a food trailer, and they do tacos. I mean, there is a lot of work for them to do too, because it's not just like, try to make taco at home. It takes time. And doesn't matter if you have, two cook and 3 waiter at your restaurant. It's still the time to cook the meat. And we are not talking about, oh, I have a pound of meat. We're talking about pounds and pounds and pounds of meat. And so that part needs to be taken in consideration. One, because you need to know that people showing up with a food truck, they have been working for 2 days to get to that appointment. Mm-hmm. The second thing that you need to consider is, especially when you invite a food truck to an event, that person has that food made and they made it according to what you told them is going to be the amount of people at the event.
How big the crowd's going to be.
Exactly.
Got to
So,
prepare for
I've talked to, because at the end of the day, you are all friends. Everybody who has a food truck and everybody who has a food trailer, even if in theory we are competing with each other, we are all on the same boat. We are doing this job that is out there, and we are facing the same problems and the same, successes somewhere. And so I was talking to this guy who had a food trailer that does barbecue, and we showed up at the same thing, and he said, "Oh, you are here too? I didn't know that they invited you too." And I cooked for days, and I have prepped the meat for that many people. It wasn't upset at me, and I wasn't. It can happen. But whenever someone say, "Oh, I have a party, I want a food truck," that thing doesn't work, because there is all the prep time that involves your time, your assistant time. Every person in the kitchen working towards that goal has to be paid.
Yeah.
So you have the cost of the food, the cost of the people working, then you have the cost of turning on the food truck, going somewhere, set it up. If there is no electricity, you need to use a generator, and you have the gas for the generator, and all that stuff end up to money. And so that can happen that you need, at least $500 to operate a business like that.
Right, we're back. You had a customer, so that's a good problem to have when you're a food trailer.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the cost it takes just to start the truck.
Yes, so whenever a truck arrives somewhere for an event, you know that they need to make between $400 and $500 just to be breaking even.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend. He became a friend. I love his food. He loves our food. It's ridiculous. We have been open for probably 2 months. The second week we already had groupies following us where we were, trying the food, to want to have the food over and over. And everybody does that. And this guy happened to have a food trailer, and he makes pizza. So I like his pizza. he likes my food. And so sometimes we do this switch. When we're open and he's at the Pocket Park downtown, I bring in arancini and he gives me a pizza in exchange.
Nice.
And so we talk, and because I mean, the places where you go in Springfield with the food truck, they're pretty much the same. So we are just like going from one place to the other, and everybody goes from one place to the other. And you expect someone who does just pizza, and so he has very few, I mean, he has ingredients that are technically cheap, and he only has 2 ovens in his food truck and a fridge. It doesn't have the same expense of someone who does, I don't know, barbecue.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he has the same kind of expense.
Right.
To start everything and be somewhere, he has, you know, $400 to $500 that he has to come back in
Yeah.
order just to break even. I'm not talking about making a ton of money. I'm just talking, okay, today was a good day because I didn't lose money.
Yeah. Gosh.
And so when you find, I mean, there are people who call you and say, oh, I have a birthday party.
Yeah.
Or I have, you know, some kind of event. And there are going to be 60 people and I want variety. So I want a food truck that does dessert, a food truck that does meat, and a food truck that does something else. Everybody say, okay, this is not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And so nobody shows up. Nobody says, okay, we are coming. Because unless you can make that money,
Yeah.
even if I drive the truck, my truck, so I, you know, technically I don't have employee for those many hours, because that's another thing that you need to consider. If it's you and an employee, that employee costs some money.
Yeah.
Okay?
For sure.
And it's not just like the money that the employee shows up, jump on the truck and drives, okay? It comes an hour ahead, the truck has to be, just to give you an idea, whenever we go somewhere, we need to plug the food truck on the light, electricity,
Yeah.
for at least an hour before, so everything is at temperature. The fridge goes to temperature and the warmer goes to temperature.
Yeah.
So when we get to the place we have to go, at least is close to the temperature that it has to be warm.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff, it's stuff that people don't consider. So you have an employee showing up at your place 2 hours before going there, because there is a lot of things to be done.
Yeah.
And then whenever you go back, everything that it doesn't get used has to go back in the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, they mean well, but they don't realize.
I know.
all
I mean,
of
and
the
it's
things
fine. I mean,
that-
people don't consider that a food truck, and me neither. Okay, I'm the first. You
Yeah.
know, I'm guilty as charged. I didn't consider a food truck was a whole business. I mean, now it's just like I run 2 restaurants and a catering business.
Yeah.
Because every food
Yeah.
truck is its own mind, and every food truck has stuff that goes better or not. For example, this one has items that we added to the menu just for this location, because we know the people around here are more interested in certain kind of food rather than other. And so we added stuff that the food truck doesn't have. And so it's crazy. That's why I don't have any time, because everything has to be prepped ahead.
Yeah.
I need to know how much stuff do I need for the food truck, but also how much time I need for the trailer. And the trailer is open every day. And so I need that this trailer will consume more during the week,
Yeah.
but is more constant. While the food truck, if it goes to the farmer's market, is just gonna have a peak for 3 hours and then it's done for the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so those things have to be considered.
Yeah.
And you know, those are problems that you have if you own a food truck.
Yeah. Yeah. So if somebody is curious to see if they can afford to have the food truck at their event, how do they get a hold of you?
They can, the email is easy, is contact at Beddamatri, like that, BEDDAMATRISGF for Springfield.com, or they can just call or text at 417-419-8084.
And of course, Italian Kitchen on
Italian
social
Kitchen,
media.
exactly.
And
Italian
they-
Kitchen, if they need a catering, they need something. Actually, for the first time, someone contacted us via Italian Kitchen because they want to do the food truck for their wedding.
Cool.
Because they'll go to Sicily on honeymoon, and so they want to offer Sicilian
Perfect.
food.
That's a neat idea. All
That's
right.
cool.
Thanks so much for what you're doing. Follow along at runradio.net.